Well, I guess since there's not really many other movies to watch in 2020, why not go to Netflix? Why not see one of the top trending films that are on Netflix right now? What's going on, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got done watching the last days of American Crime. 2020 film, like I said. This is directed by Oliver Megaton. I'm not making that up. His name is Oliver Megaton. They're in this world where the U.S. government has decided to implement this new program where they're going to sound off this siren, this signal into everybody's brain, and if you try to commit a crime, this signal will stop you. If you try to do something that in your heart you know is bad and evil, well, this device will stop you, and it's supposed to eliminate crime. It's supposed to be this new savior for the world. So you get these three characters who come together to perform like the last great heist before it's completely devoid. Before you can't do it anymore, they're going to try to steal all of this money, but you can't trust each other. Of course, there's a lot of twists and turns with these characters, a lot of violence, a lot of killing. This movie, man, I don't want to say that it's terrible. I don't want to say that it's absolute garbage, but it's not good either. Maybe the biggest sin of this movie is that I was bored to tears. This movie is 2.5 hours long. Why? Just why? I've seen so many movies that were an hour and a half or even 2 hours, and I said to myself, man, I was really enjoying it. I could have used more. This movie, I wasn't even enjoying it at the hour mark. I looked on the Netflix scroll bar and saw that when I only was in this movie for an hour, and I still had an hour and a half left. Oi! I was losing my mind. I just didn't care. The premise, I guess, is somewhat interesting. Like I said, the government wanted to create anything that they can do, the signal that's going to warp your brain, and possibly, like, if you try to fight it, try to keep trying to kill somebody, this will take you out, basically. It will compel people not to do crime. And, like, I get it. It is far-fetched. It is over the top. It is not believable. But similar to The Purge, I just like an interesting idea of how maybe the government would try to combat crime and how crazy it is. So okay, fine. Let me try to go along with this premise and pretend like it's real. The movie doesn't even really get too far into it. It's sort of there as a background setting for everything else that's going on. It pops back up more maybe in the last 20 minutes or so, but not enough to make me think that, yeah, this plot was needed. This plot was necessary. It makes sense as to why this was a sci-fi like element that, I don't know, it didn't play enough into the story like it should have. Everything else that this movie was about, I guess you could have just had it more grounded, more realistic, because why not? They clearly were pretending like they were trying to say something about protesters and not trusting police and not, but it's forced. It didn't feel authentic. It felt like it was just trying to be hip and cool, like, hey, look at us. We're kind of touching upon the current events. Aren't we cool? Some of the cast, let's talk about these actors, shall we? Edgar Ramirez plays Brick. He's fine. This is an actor that I've seen in things before. He's usually a quiet, stoic killer type, and I guess he brings that here, but because he is our lead, because he's the guy that we're supposed to fully get behind, fully care about, and because he's a criminal that they show at the beginning, first scene, he does some heinous and cruel things to get what he wants. I just didn't care about anybody. And that's another big thing, a big issue I had, is that I sat here bored because I did not care what happened to anybody. If they died, if they got screwed over, if they couldn't trust each other, if they just decided to blow everybody up because F it. It seems like the police, everyone's corrupted. It just seems like this world sucks. And I had trouble attaching myself to him. He wanted to avenge his brother being killed in prison. You have Anna Brewster, who maybe she's the most interesting character. She's probably one of the better actors in this movie as well. She plays Shelby. She's the girlfriend of this guy, Cash, who is sort of trying to arrange this heist, but she of course has her other stuff going on with her sister and with the FBI and just how deep undercover she really is. This heist, again, I've seen so many heist movies in the past that I wasn't impressed with this heist. Most of the movie isn't really even them trying to plan the heist or figure it out or make it believable. No, it's you have this love triangle going on between all the characters. Edgar Ramirez is obviously falling for the main girl, but she's the girlfriend of the main guy, but she doesn't really like him. She's falling for Edgar, and I'm just like, all right, this is filling in like 45 minutes of this movie that I don't think is needed. Speaking of not really being needed, I like this actor, and I think he was fine in the film. Sharlto Copley is here to play a cop, and he has some random scenes in the beginning, maybe 2 or 3 scenes that are pretty random, don't really factor into anything at all. And then he shows back up at the end, and again, I'm avoiding spoilers, but man, what a waste. What a waste of a character, what a waste of an actor, what a waste of time. And I think that's what my biggest thing with this movie is that it could have been great. It could have been even good. It could have been decent. But it's boring, it's lackluster, the acting isn't the greatest, the writing's atrocious. It is. There's dialogue in this movie that made me just cringe and close my eyes and go, no, 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 stop it. Stop it, guys. You're trying to be deep. You're trying to hit somewhere with this plot, and I just wasn't buying it. It didn't feel authentic. It felt forced. It was over the top. Maybe some decent action, I'll give it. There were some cool explosions. There were some cool deaths. It's just at 2.5 hours, that's not enough. That's not enough to hook me. I'm sitting here during a pandemic, bored out of my skull, but I still felt like I could have been doing 5 other things besides watching this movie. I did finish it. I did complete my task, so I'm not going to go full-blown hatred for it. But I am going to say that this is some old bullshit.
That's some old bullshit.
So guys, let me know in the comments below if you too have seen The Last Days of American Crime. What did you think of it? Did you like it more than I did? Am I being too harsh? Or do you agree that it was just boring and not inspired like it should have been? Like, comment, subscribe. Later!